done 4 or 5 now, and I kind of like having different topics and stuff on it. So I just, this time, mental health is obviously quite a big one because people are obviously in this moment in time, it's probably affecting people in loads of different ways and stuff like that. So I just thought, like, I know you're really passionate about it, so I thought you'd be a good person to get on it. So I'll start like the actual thing shortly, but it'll be questions just like why you're passionate about it, what you think people can be doing, stuff like that. So
okay, cool.
Shouldn't be anything that will kill you, but it's more. Well, the way I've done it with the other guys is it's more just a wee kind of interview.
Yeah.
I'll just ask you the questions, and you can ramble away, and then it should be about half an hour or something max, I'd say. So.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, let's do it.
I've lost your questions already. Right. Okay, let's do it. So, podcast number 5, Edinburgh Fitness Podcast. Thank you for tuning in again. I'm back with a guest, which has made a change from me just walking about by myself. So this week I was quite passionate about speaking about mental health, and as such I thought I'd get on somebody I know is really passionate about it themselves. So I will introduce you to Abby. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Just chilling as we can do. So, as I always start, I usually get the guest to give a wee background of who they are, what they do in the industry, stuff like that. So, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. So, yeah, as I said, I'm Abby. So I'm 24, and I've recently moved up to Edinburgh. So I was living down in Cornwall before, and down there I was doing kind of an office kind of based job. So I was working in finance and decided to do my qualification to become a PT. So I did that alongside working full time. And then from that, due to my partner's work as a pilot, he then got a decision to be based either here or Glasgow. So we picked Edinburgh.
Good choice.
Thank you. So we moved up in November time. And because it was a complete change of scenery, I was like, well, I've got myself my qualification. Let's give it a go and try and pursue being a personal trainer. And then that's obviously when I joined you at the gym and have been doing that since, but with a bit of an interruption now, unfortunately.
So was that November, was it?
Yeah, so I moved up November and I started with you guys December.
Right, okay. Good time flies, eh?
Yeah, I know. But about 6 months, I think. Yeah, we've been up here, so.
Good. And enjoying the lovely weather?
I can't believe it because down in Cornwall, normally it's constantly raining, but during lockdown, they have had clear blue sky. We've had like cloud.
The barbecue and that downstairs, down south. And then we're just sitting here like, this isn't right. What's going on?
I know, typical. But no, it's all right actually. Everyone warned me about wearing thermals, but I've been okay.
You're good so far. I like how you've got your headphones. I told you to wear your headphones, and then on preparation for this, I realised that my tablet doesn't have an adapter to plug in my headphones, which is why I look unprepared and you look more prepared than I do. So
there we go. No,
right. So, like I said, today's podcast is mainly about mental health. So, what's your background? Why are you so passionate about mental health?
I think I've always been passionate about it, but it's kind of through gaining more knowledge and understanding about it, I've realized how much it's impacted my life and also a lot of people around me as well. So I've kind of obviously had mental health for a long time, but probably just didn't realize what it was. I just assumed that it was just being extra nervous or, just feeling a little bit low or something like that. And then I think I had a bit of I think it was, how many years ago? It was after university, about 3 years ago, I had a bit of what you could call like a breakdown, and then went to like counselling and things like that, which then opened my eyes up to be like, oh, actually, maybe I have got something that's going on and I do need help with it. It's not just me feeling a bit low. So through kind of counselling and now medication and things like that, I've gained a much better understanding of what mental health is. And then I see a lot of people who struggle with it, as you said, especially during times like this, and might not be able to diagnose it themselves. So I just want to be there as someone to be like, look, it's okay. I've felt like this too, or I know people that have felt like this, like you're not alone. So that's why I'm such an advocate about it, and like to speak up just so people feel like they can speak to someone else and they're not gonna just say, oh, you're crazy, or why are you feeling like this? Your life's perfect. Like, think of people in worse positions than you. So yeah, I think that's why I'm really passionate about it. It's just trying to be like, it's okay to feel how you feel. And just the worst thing to do is, obviously, as everyone says, is to keep it in. Like, the best thing to do is talk about it. So I just want to be that kind of person that people feel they can come to, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think it's something I noticed as well, because I obviously spoke to somebody as well previously, and it's amazing. You think you're okay, and then you start talking, and you almost can't stop talking after a while, and then you go, oh shit, I didn't realise this, or didn't really do it.
Or my favourite one, which you've done to me, Steve, is when you're feeling a bit low and someone says, but are you okay? And suddenly floodgates open.
And then I immediately regret that question. I'm like, I'm gonna get somebody to do this. But it's it really is the best thing you can do. And like you say, so many folks just bottle it up, and they feel like they can't say it to somebody. And it's like you say, it affects people different ways and stuff like that. But having that opportunity to speak to somebody and be open with them and say, look, I'm not okay today, it can change it. But after an hour, you could suddenly feel better just because you're unloaded, and who knows, like that. But
definitely, I think the problem is still, I know there's a lot more kind of awareness, which is brilliant. So we've come on loads, but still there is like a stigma around it, I guess, because if you've got like a physical pain or something like that, you can diagnose it, isn't it? You've got a broken leg, you can see you've got a broken leg, whereas mental health is so much more difficult. And as you said, everyone reacts differently to it. And like, obviously you've got things like, because I always thought, oh, I've just got anxiety. So once I've kind of came to terms with the fact that, something, I was reacting a little bit differently, I was like, oh, it's just anxiety. Like, I just get like those kind of symptoms. And then when I was speaking to my counsellor, I was like, oh, maybe actually no, I've got depression as well. So it's hard to know kind of what mental health you might be suffering with. But, and as I said, it is that stigma about like going onto the crazy pills or things like that, which I think definitely men, probably more so than women, would struggle with talking about, which is obviously such a shame, because that's where the highest kind of suicide rates are.
Yeah, and you see all these kind of pictures going around at the moment about like sharing pictures of you and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of empowering guys. But I think there's almost from what I've seen, is the opposite side, like you're saying, when the person's like asking, are you okay, and stuff like that. I think people, when they ask those questions, they feel like when the person says they're not okay, that they should have an answer for them, or a solution for it, or they don't want to be in that uncomfortable situation. But all you can do is just listen to that other person speak, and just give them empathy and stuff like that, and that can help them more than telling them, like you say, when somebody feels like they tell you, oh, just snap out of it, or there's people in the world that have had it worse than you. The person doesn't need to hear that. Sometimes they just want to, as I say, talk, and it's being that other person that can go, I feel where you're coming from, and I've felt that myself, kind of thing, and that can really help people sometimes as well. So
yeah, I think from my own experience as well, like I found that sometimes when you speak to someone and open up and bless them, like probably like most of us would do, be like, oh, it's going to get better, or like think of it like this, and trying to put a positive spin on it. And sometimes all you want someone to say is like, oh yeah, that's a bit crap, isn't it? Like, just accept it for what it is, and as you said, just listen. Sometimes you just don't want to hear about how it's going to get better, because at that moment in time you're just like, no.
Yeah, like I remember that exact moment with my mates, and alcohol was involved, so it didn't help the situation the slightest. But I just kind of I broke down a bit, and I was like, I'm struggling with this, and they were just like, get over it. Like there's a lot worse things in the world. Everything's going to be all right. And I was like, I just don't want to hear that right now. I just want you just to listen to me. And I think that was a big moment for me and my mates, because like we never really spoken about anything like that before, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that brought us a lot closer together and stuff like that, when we kind of understood each other a bit more. So
yeah, definitely.
So let's bring it into today, this mad world that we're living in and stuff like that, all on lockdown. You've been locked down for years now, haven't you?
Yeah, this is I think, so I had to self-isolate a week before lockdown. So this is like I think, am I entering week 4 of being at home?
Yeah. Well,
I can't even tell you anymore.
So what are you doing for your mental health at this moment in time?
I think, so for me, as I said, I have received counselling in the past. And one of the best things I took away from that is my counsellor, bless her, she was amazing. So what I would say is, anyone that's struggling, definitely, if you can, see a counsellor. It's one of the best things I did. It's difficult because they'll ask you quite probing questions, and sometimes questions that you will not even have the answer to, but it was the best kind of way to change your perspective, maybe. And with me, she was saying, Abby, you're always thinking about the future, like you're not present. So you're not thinking about where you are now, you're always thinking about where you're wanting to be. So if it's like career, your relationships, where you're living, money, things like that, it's just general stresses. It's just like, you're just not here, you're not present. And I was like, oh gosh, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like everything I'm moaning about is stressing about what I'm going to do with my life, and I'm not really living it. And so she said, the main thing you've got to think about is what you can control. So some things that you can't control, like coronavirus, you cannot control that. That is something that's happened. Obviously, you have ownership of whether you stay in and stay home and try and prevent the spread and things like that. But coronavirus is here. We can't control that. We can't control the fact that we're in lockdown. So the things that you need to worry about are the things that you can control. So as you said, like how you might deal with it. So for me, I always try and make sure that I go outside once a day, whether it be a walk or a jog, just something. So I go outside and get some fresh air. I always have time just to switch off. So whether it be like reading or watching a movie, watching Tiger King on Netflix, whatever it is.
Absolutely mental, but brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, that was great. That was great escapism.
I don't think I've ever laughed at something.
So, but yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's kind of thinking, right, there's no point stressing about my job. Obviously, being a personal trainer, don't know when we're going to be back in the gym. But what am I going to gain by stressing about it? Because it's just going to put me in a worse kind of headspace. So it's just wasted energy. So yeah, there's no point stressing about that and things that I cannot physically or mentally control. So yes, I think just putting yourself into a good routine. So choosing to maybe do some exercise, because as we know, exercise is really good for mental health and things like depression. And maybe picking up something new. Like I remember, I think the first week or so, I started painting again, which I haven't done in a long time. So it's kind of taking advantage of the time that we have, but then also not feeling guilty if you just have a sofa day as well. Because I think there's a lot on social media. I don't know if it's the same on your kind of news feed. It's just everyone's doing home workouts, learning languages. And it's like, oh God, am I supposed to be doing this? So I think it's having a balance of, okay, it's all right that I'm not, suddenly...
Yeah, and that's what I quite like about your content is you do give both sides. Like you try and give people the motivation to go and do stuff, and we'll speak about your live classes and that in a minute. But you also give them that realist side of it, is to I'm not like this all the time. And that's something I think I've battled with for years and still trying to improve on, is that I was very much in a kind of all or nothing kind of guy.
Yeah.
When you're looking like on, like you say, exactly online, because we follow a lot of fitness people, so they're all trying to get their content out there, and you just scroll and you're like fitness, 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 and like you say, you're like, I just can't be arsed. And it's the biggest word you probably said there was energy, and it's focusing on your energy and putting your energy in the right places and stuff like that can really help you in this moment.
Yeah.
I think, as I say, when your priorities are something else other than fitness, then something like a walk or something is can be more beneficial for you than jumping about your living room.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
because if you don't have the energy, you're going to fight yourself and you're going to tell yourself, "Oh, come on, you should be doing this because everyone else is doing it." But
Yeah.
I mean, there's still times where you need to give yourself a wee bit of commitment and drive to it. But I've kind of find that windows now kind of help me more than a direction, if you know what I mean. So it's like, right, I will exercise for half an hour today, be that jumping around or be it just a walk or something like that, or like my bedtime routine and stuff like that is now like a window that I go to bed between 10:30 and 10:30 and 11, as opposed to 10:30 on the dot kind of thing, and give
Yeah.
myself that wee bit of stability, but at the same time guidelines that I stick within. So
Yeah, no, I think that does make a big difference. And as you said, like, obviously going the other way is probably not great for your mental health if you do just lounge about on the sofa all day, every day. So maybe, as you said, just committing to something. So like, as you kind of mentioned, I do my evening classes, and there are times when I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to get up, move, and I'm hungry. I just want to have my tea. But because I've committed to it, and even if there's only one person watching, I'm like, no, like that one person has logged on to watch me so they can get their workout. So it just means that I have to move. And as I think one of the slogans are on the gym, you never regret a workout. So even if you don't fancy doing it at the time, once you've done it, you're like, okay, like, yeah, that was all right, actually. So
yeah. And I think that's what your live videos do. Like you say, is like you're motivating the other people, and they're probably liking that there's other people there, or not face to face, but you know what I mean. They can see you
yeah,
doing the work, and at the same time, you will probably feed off the energy from, even if it's that one person watching, you'll feed off their energy, as opposed to if it was just you and accountability yourself. It's very easy sometimes to just say, "I'll do it tomorrow."
yeah.
Um,
Or
or
yeah, no, yeah. I think as like a community sense, isn't it? That's always really good. If you need motivation, it's a bit more difficult if you are kind of isolating on your own. But as I said, join in with like a class that's going live, so you're committing to it. Or if you don't fancy doing, a full-on HIIT workout, which is understandable, if you try and encourage your household to go for a walk or something like that, I think if other people are kind of motivated and supportive with you, it's a great way to get moving.
yeah, definitely. And I think the live videos are probably helping me in a lot of different ways and stuff like that. Because I mean, we do like quiz nights with the family now. I probably speak to my mum and dad more than I speak to them normally, and
Yeah.
but like you say, you're committed to these kind of times. You just meet up and interactive more than ever before. So, like you say, the community aspect of these live videos that you're seeing people do, they have massive impacts and stuff like that. So it is really, really good. So, yeah. So, would you say you're a kind of introverted person or an extroverted person?
Hmm. Um, I would say I'm extroverted. So I am very kind of, when you first meet me, I'm quite bubbly, not necessarily loud, but, I'm quite chatty, I suppose. I remember in school, I always got told off for being too chatty. And they said that I had to sit on a table by myself because I was too chatty and distracted people.
No,
So
really?
so I know I'm quite like, and so a lot of people are always surprised when I do kind of say, oh, I do suffer with mental health and kind of like depression, and I'm currently on like antidepressants. I know people was like, oh really? Like I wouldn't expect that of
Sure.
you. Like, but I think sometimes it can be a front just to be kind of really jokey and upbeat, and then people don't question it, do they? And be like, oh, are you okay? Like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, fine. Like, so yeah, sometimes I think it can just be like, oh God, right, let's just be normal Abby, and then no one will question me. I'll just go by my day as normal, even if I feel horrendous inside. But then other times I've got to that point now where I've had moments when I've been really low. I've had periods of just crying for no good reason and things like that. So I'm just a bit like, I don't want my mental health to define who I am. So I don't want to be downbeat because I've got depression. So I still want to be me, even though I've got depression, which has helped kind of shape who I am and obviously what I do now. So I'm not sad that I have it, but I just don't want it to be my defining feature. I think that's really important for me, just to kind of be like, no, I am myself. And I know a lot of people were kind of skeptical with like antidepressants, especially when I was about to go on them, saying like, oh, how is it going to affect you? And I'm like, actually, now I'm taking them, I realise that I am just myself, but a bit more kind of my emotions, I've got a bit more control over them. So I'm not so unstable in that sense. So yeah, I think that's really important for me.
Yeah, no, the reason I was kind of asking is like, again, when we're talking about kind of ways to create your energy and stuff like that, I think sometimes people need to figure out whether they are introverted or extroverted to realize how they recover their energy and stuff like that. Like for me, I'm a massive introvert.
Yeah.
And times like this is it's almost actually been quite good for me because it gives me a lot of downtime myself, kind of thing, and recharge my batteries. But it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy working with people and being with people all the time. It just means when I need to recharge, I usually take a step back, a bit of alone time, like you kind of said earlier, when you read the book and stuff like that. And I think that just by giving myself that hour or something, it can kind of set me up for the day. So that's when I find like the morning walk has really helped me, because it's half an hour where I just go by myself, just put on a podcast or something. I just chill out and just what you said earlier, what your counselor said earlier. I'm just in that moment of here I am now. I'm not thinking about anything ahead, not thinking about anything in the past. I'm just in that moment and it feel recharged. I come back and then I'm set up for the day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But as I say, for some introverts that'll work, but for some extroverts, like you say, is about understanding. You're not putting on a front, kind of thing. You're just that's who you are.
Yeah.
And it's being okay with those times when you can say, I'm not feeling 100% today, kind of thing. So
yeah, definitely.
good, excellent. So let's move on to exercise, because obviously that's what we do. So tell me how you feel exercise helps with mental health. I know it's fairly obvious to us, but
So I think, so I've always been into exercise. Well, I did a dance degree, so you would hope, that I was semi-fit. So yeah, I've always been into exercise. And I think through like dancing, through going to the gym, through running, anything like that, it's just a form of escapism for me. So when I'm, say, dancing, I am so focused on kind of my movement. So what am I going to do next? The counts. When I'm running, I'm so focused on breathing mostly, trying to catch my breath, that I'm not really thinking about anything else. And again, like with the gym, I'm thinking like, right, technique, where am I feeling this? And like which muscles am I working? So I think it's that moment where you're so focused on kind of your body or how you're feeling within yourself that you're not thinking about any of the other kind of external stresses. So it's just, as we've kind of already highlighted, that kind of 30 minutes or an hour or whatever kind of period of time just for yourself, where you're kind of looking at yourself and just thinking about how you're kind of functioning more so than anything else, or these external thoughts that get kind of heightened throughout the day. And then I also think it helps with mental health because it's a sense of accomplishment. So like with me, like running, I remember I jokingly signed up to a 10K with work. with someone else, and then they pulled out, and I was like, brilliant. So I've got to now work for this. I was like, great, because I'm a bit competitive, so I was like, I can't be the last person over the line for my work. I'm sorry. So I was like, right, now I'm going to have to work for this. And then because I committed myself to go out and run, which was difficult for me as like an asthmatic, I found it really difficult just to breathe. But because I pushed myself, and then I did my 10K, and I was like, I did it. Like, I can't believe I've actually done it. And so that gave me pride. And then, because with me, like my mental health, a lot of it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at my job. I'm not good enough as like a partner or something like that. It's like my self-worth. Whereas that, I was like, oh, I am good enough. I did it. So it's that sense of accomplishment. And then you obviously like push on to a new challenge or something else like that. So I think that's where any kind of exercise or kind of team sport, it doesn't have to be the generic running or anything like that. It could be something quite fun. But it's just that sense of like accomplishment and pride in yourself. Huh?
You say running's not fun?
Well,
Something fun. I hate running.
No, it can be fun. It's just because I'm starting out again. The beginning bit is never fun.
I know. Always a good idea until I start, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not actually a fan of running. I'm up for a marathon this year, so I need to start enjoying running. So,
oh gosh,
it was a bucket list thing, and I know I immediately regret it. But like you said, it's confidence is built on wins, and it's the small achievable wins over time just build and grow your confidence. And like you say, to set yourself a challenge and then achieve that challenge grows your confidence. And that's such a good way of kind of not getting over any issues that you have, but helping you kind of build and grow as a person and level up as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think what you said there as well with the exercises, that's something that really took away from a lot of the learning I was doing with it was the word mindfulness. It's kind of mindlessness and mindfulness. And it's just that a lot of people, and we do it ourselves, is your mindlessness is when you're outside your own head and you're in your phone and you're focusing on things that you can't control, like you said earlier. And then your mindfulness is when you're in yourself, and it's a form of meditation. And I think that's where meditation is really good. And I think people misinterpret meditation nowadays as they think it's that kind of yoga, just chilling in a room, breathing and stuff like that. But it's not.
Gong in the background, like
exactly, yeah. But realistically, what it is what you said, is being in that moment and being present with yourself and taking that time to just focus on you and focus on what you can control and eliminate all your other stresses. And that's what meditation is. And that's why it's so beneficial for so many people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I know before doctors have always said kind of meditation and just having control of your breath is a great way of kind of, especially for anxiety more than anything, because when you have kind of panic attacks or anxiety attacks, having just control of your own breath is a great way of kind of releasing that. And very important as well when you are exercising, because the amount of clients I have that hold their breath, and I'm like, no, breathe.
I know, it's funny that, isn't it? So how are your clients getting on at this time?
All right, actually, I've set up a WhatsApp group for all my clients, which I did prior to the lockdown anyway, just because I wanted to make that, as I was saying earlier, like that community space, especially as my clients are all female. And I know some of them are a little bit nervous about being in the gym. Some of them are really apprehensive about going down to kind of the free weight section. So I was just like, right, if I build this community where they can kind of empower one another. So I set them a task on the first kind of day saying, I just want you to put a picture of yourself into the group and explain why you picked this picture. So it didn't have to be fitness related. I didn't want it to have to be like, oh, this is my before and after shot. So yeah, just any picture. And so that way people could like recognize each other and just build one another up, which, you know, doesn't happen all the time. So we started doing that, and now obviously it's worked quite well, because now in lockdown I'll just send them a message being like, right guys, how are we feeling this Monday? Like, what's going on? Have you guys been able to do any exercise or not? Have you picked up any new hobbies? So yeah, it's good just to kind of check in and discuss with them how they're feeling. But as a whole, I think most of them are doing quite well. I know some of them are struggling, kind of feeling a bit claustrophobic, I suppose, being locked down. But generally, most of them are doing my exercises, which is good.
Good. No, that sounds awesome. That the group, and like you say, I really like that element of not just focusing on the before and afters and those kind of things, focusing on just being proud of you as a person, and you know, no doubt they will probably choose a picture that they were feeling really good about themselves at that moment. And by focusing on that, it can instill again more confidence in them and stuff like that. So I think that's a really good thing, and no wonder your clients are liking it. So
yeah, no, I think it was a really positive way, just as I said, just to introduce themselves as well, because sometimes when you introduce yourself, it sounds like a CV, doesn't it? So I've worked here, I've done this. So yeah, it's just an icebreaker, really.
Excellent. So we're coming up to the half an hour mark, believe it or not. Chatting away. So we'll wrap it up. So what would be your top 3 tips that people could implement today to improve their mental health at this moment in time?
Top 3 tips. I think setting some kind of structure, so having some form of routine, is always good. So as I said, if it is today, I'm going to make sure I go for a walk or go outdoors or read a book. So just having some kind of structure to your day, I think makes a real difference, because otherwise you do feel like you're kind of wasting away. So that would be my number 1. Number 2 would be to stay in contact as well. So if it's with someone that you're isolating with or your family that you can't be with, just always make sure that you don't cut yourself off from people. I know that when kind of I'm in a really depressive mood, or I'm in quite a bad stage of depression, the first thing I'll do is isolate myself off from people. So I don't want to, because I don't want to burden people. That's me. I'm like, no, I don't want to worry them, or they've got enough stresses going on. But no, actually just make sure that you are talking to people, you're in communication with people. Even if it's just a light-hearted chat, you don't have to explain yourself each time to every single person, but just so you have that moment of just like, oh, okay, yeah, like just chatting about, I don't know, what you had for dinner or something, instead of being up in your own thoughts. And then my final one would just be to accept like how you're feeling. I think a lot of the time, again, this is what my counsellor said to me when she was like, so why do you beat yourself up if you feel sad? I'm like, well, because it's a bad emotion. She's like, no, like just because you're feeling sad, like every emotion you feel is warranted. So just accept it and think, well, maybe tomorrow I'll feel better. Or so just to take it for how it is. So again, like as we were saying earlier, if you're not feeling motivated, that's fine. Have a day off. Just accept how you're feeling in that moment. Don't try and fight it all the time. Don't be like, oh, I need to be happy. I need to be positive. I need to put on this bright kind of shiny face. I need to put on that Instagram post to make everyone think that I'm okay. Just have a day off. It would be my other one.
No, I think that they're brilliant points. I mean, the first one is like your kind of non-negotiables, and I think that's the structure is so important for people right now. Is they do one or two things at this moment in time. They're either trying to use their old structure, which obviously can't happen now because we don't have the same routines, or they just abandon it completely. And it's like just giving yourself some non-negotiables that you will do, and whether it's you start with one and you build on it, is that one is right, I will go for a walk today, and once that becomes
I think I was a bit ambitious, but at first I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna paint every day, I'm gonna do some work, I'm gonna develop my business, yoga. I've not done that, so make it achievable.
Yeah, I'm 100% 100% the same though. As I said, it goes back to that before, is that all or nothing kind of thing is like, you feel like, again, when you refer to Instagram and that, you feel like people are upbeat all the time.
Yeah.
And that isn't the case, and it is not being that all or nothing. You can have those times where you feel a bit down, and those times where you feel great. And it's focusing your energy on how you can get to that state of feeling good. But if you're not, then it's okay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the second one is, again, 100% the same as I had. It was 2 days ago. I had a shit day. I just couldn't be arsed, and I went and sat in my man cave, which is where I am now, for most of the day. And unfortunately, I've got an Xbox in here, so I just used that as a
Oh no.
show. So what I done today was I took the controller and gave it to my wife. I said, hide that. It says only let me have it like at certain times, because it says if I don't, I could just shut myself away from my wife, my wee one, for half the day, and that was a waste. And it's different, an hour or something, I can just go and recharge my batteries, like I said earlier. But I can't shut myself away, because I came away feeling terrible with that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you say, staying in contact and those kind of things can be really beneficial. So excellent. So I think that was a great chat. I think that was really good.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Can you let people know where they can find more information about you?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook and Instagram. So obviously I'm Abby, so Abby Coleman, but my business is Mind and Body Fitness. So yeah, we've got both accounts on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect. And this podcast will be going out on Friday, I believe. So hopefully folk will like and share it. But I just want to say thank you very much for coming on. I got loads of interesting stuff from you there. It's good to see somebody speak so openly about mental health as well. I think that'll help a lot of people at this time. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
No worries.